Now, this is the first line of an Associated Press news article from over the weekend. Newsflash: congressional Republicans want to raise your taxes. Now, that's not an opinion piece or a work of satire by somebody. I mean, that is 100% reported fact. Republicans who fought tooth and nail to extend the Bush tax cuts for the rich want to raise taxes on almost half of all Americans out there. When President Obama signed the Bush tax cut extension last year in the lame duck session of the Congress, Republicans went along with the president's request to include a payroll tax cut on wage earners. That tax holiday expires this year, and now Republicans are saying that they will not approve an extension. So according to the GOP, American workers should pay more taxes and the rich should pay less. And in case you're wondering why Republicans are willing to be so blatantly hypocritical, well, here's the answer.
There are things we can do right now that will mean more customers for businesses and more jobs across the country. We can cut payroll taxes again, so families have an extra $1,000 to spend.
This tax cut is one of the president's top priorities. It's a popular measure among the middle class in this country and supporters of economic growth. So, of course, Republicans, they're against it. And remember, this is the same Republican Party in which every single candidate for president is against tax hikes, even if it meant 10 times the amount of spending cuts. You can't get around it. Let's bring in Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist David K. Johnson. He's the author of Free Lunch: How the Wealthiest Americans Enrich Themselves at the Government Expense and Stick You with the Bill. And he's also a columnist for Reuters. Great to have you with us tonight, Mr. Johnson. You know, earlier this month, President Obama said that failing to extend the payroll tax break and unemployment benefits could mean 1 million fewer jobs and 0.5% less growth. Is that true in your opinion? Was he accurate when he said that?
Well, it certainly can have negative economic consequences. And on top of that, let's keep in mind that the deficits we're running, the portion of them attributable to tax cuts for the very best off among us, are also damaging our economic growth.
Has there ever been a more clear-cut position by the Republicans that they favor the rich?
No, and Ed, you know, this is the third time now in a year Republicans have made it clear what their real view of the economy is. The rich do not have enough, and the way to get more for the rich is to take from those who have less. Third time in a year.
Well, take us down that road. What's the difference between what wage earners will get from the tax breaks versus, you know, what the wealthy gets from the Bush tax cuts?
Well, there is this fantasy argument made by Republicans that the only people who hire people are billionaires, which is utter nonsense, that goes to the core of this. But, you know, a year ago, we had Congressman Ryan, over a year ago, put forth his plan to save money on Medicare. Well, for every dollar you would save in taxes, you would spend $5 to $8 extra out of pocket. Not a very smart plan in the sense of saving money overall. Then in December, the Republicans insisted on ending President Obama's Making Work Pay tax credit, which the White House said was the largest middle-class tax cut ever. Every working person in America who made under $20,000 or married couples under $40,000 got a tax increase this year as a result of that. They insisted on the current reduction in payroll taxes. This was their idea that they promoted. Now they want to take it away. That will affect the middle class and the upper middle class, who are easily sacrificed because they are not the political donor class who are behind the Republican plan.
And, of course, virtually every Republican has signed on to Grover Norquist's Americans for Tax Reform pledge, saying that they're just not going to go for any tax hikes whatsoever. Would they be, I guess you say, violating that pledge by blocking the payroll tax holiday?
Well, I think based on Grover's pledge and their pledge of allegiance not to the country but to Grover, not only would they, but this isn't the first time they've done it. Remember, back in 2006, the Republicans and President Bush raised taxes on teenagers who had jobs and were saving money so they could afford to go to college. I guess that's the fourth time the Republicans have made it clear that tax cut for billionaires come first, and ordinary people, well, you could pay higher taxes regardless of any pledges we've made to Grover Norquist.
David K. Johnson, thanks for your time tonight. Appreciate it. Verizon employees go back to work when the clock strikes midnight. Now that their strike is over, will the workers get the protections they need? And Fox and Friends asks Donald Trump about Libya. Of course, he's an expert. He said his answer, of course, would make Dick Cheney proud. Stay with us.